down. So we will try to decipher these movements and see how we can ride these increased volume, spurred, and profit from that. So for these, we are going to look at the happening stock for last many months, and even now, even in today's session, it is showing that it is something everyone is after. Even in today's session, it is up by around 3 percentage point at the moment, and seeing increased interest by the market participants. The name is Nvidia, and if you are new to the market, you need to know the reason behind this surge. And if you have been following this stock for a while, then you might be knowing quite well that this is a semiconductor manufacturer, and this stock in particular, in comparison to its peers like Intel or AMD, is having a advantage over the rivals in terms of its GPU fabrication, and that is why this has been a clear-cut winner with a large market share of around 90% in the generative AI structure, the backbone, the data centers, and the chipset are being provided by the NVIDIA based support. Instead of other rivals, it is seeing demand for its products going through the roof because of this new wave in the AI segment. We are seeing a lot of generative AI products hitting the market like ChatGPT, and that has changed the game. And even in the automotive sector, the self-driving is driven by the AI technologies, and that is also one of the key segment for the NVIDIA to target, and it is a beneficiary of these movements, and we will see how we can take the advantage. So now let us head to the investors page of the Nvidia to see how its financials are impacting and what the guidance is to try to understand the company's current standing and the possibilities going ahead. So let us head to the investors relation page of the company. Is the press release page for the Nvidia. If we look at the quarterly results, we have only the results for the first quarter of this year. We are yet to get the second quarter's result. We will be getting it in a few days, but as of now, we can derive our inference only by looking at these first quarter results. And there was not much significant change in overall revenues, but there was a significant change in the revenues being generated by particular segments, and that is where the crux of the matter lies, because we are seeing that the growth in the revenues is not happening uniformly across the space. Rather, it is being concentrated in some segments, and there has been decline in other. So if you look at the revenues, gross revenues for the first quarter and compare it to the last quarter of the last financial year as well as the first quarter of the financial year 2023, you will see that the revenue is up in terms of the quarter on quarter, but it is down in terms of the year on year. And this difference is because of this decrease in revenues in two segments, but two other segments are driving the upsurge, and that is where the future lies for the Nvidia. So here, if you go into the revenue distribution, you will see that the data center and the automotive segment are the large contributors for the revenue of the Nvidia. And in terms of the growth from these segments, if you look at the automotive component, here the revenue has gone up remarkably, up at 114%. It is not that high if we compare this contribution at US dollar 296 million in total revenues of plus 7 billion. You will see that this is not a large contributor as of now, but the growth is remarkable, and it is expected to continue and contribute highly in coming quarters as well. In the automotive segment, where the self-driving is the talk of the town, and we are only likely to get it better and better, and more cars are going to be equipped with these self-driving technology. In terms of the year on year and in terms of the quarter on quarter, the revenue was up 18%. So this is one key segment which is contributing in large quantity, as well as it is having quite substantial growth rate, both quarter on quarter as well as year on year. And as the generative AI becomes large part of people's lives, and more people start using the generative AI technologies, machine learning tools, we are going to see that the data center architecture, the backbone technologies provided by the NVIDIA, are going to see increased demand, and as a result of that, the revenues derived from that segment for the Nvidia is going to be a cash cow. It is going to benefit substantially. It is benefiting already, and it is likely to keep up these market lead and derive its revenues for next few years. It is going to be a market leader, and that is pretty much established. Right now, it has a market share close to 90%, and even if it loses some of the market share, we are not likely to see the dent in its total revenues. Only other competitors will be playing catch up, and some market share might go to them, but the overall revenue derived from these data center operations for the AI technologies is going to remain significant for the NVIDIA, and as a result of that, we have seen the valuation of the NVIDIA triple in a year. Even not in a year, if we look at its price, it was around US dollar 150 at the start of the year. Now it is at 450, upward of 450. So that means it has tripled in the market value in last 7 to 8 months, and that's a significant growth, quite remarkable. Money generation for the investors. So whoever had this stock for this year has seen significant value creation in this stock, and this is also likely to keep up the pace and remain a wealth creator for next couple of quarters at the minimum. Now let us look at its technicals, where it stands, and how we can try to profit from these upsurge which we are seeing in the Nvidia. This is a hourly chart of the NVIDIA. Simple. There is a 12 hourly SMA and 24 candle period SMA. Since we have the candle period defined at hourly, that means we are looking at the average price of 24 candles and 12 candles respectively. Now, if you look at these price formation, we had this double top point of formation and slight correction from there on. But if we look at the larger picture, it has been going up and up for quite many weeks now, and that is not really likely to change much in near future, not unless it drops below these prior swing low, which is there around US dollar 400 per share. So for Nvidia to be considered negative, I am looking at these prior swing low, and as long as it keeps forming high highs and higher lows, we have the reasons to feel optimistic about its prospects, and all we need to do is try to profit from these upward momentum. But the profiting from upward momentum is not as easy as it sounds, because we have to look at three possibilities at any given point in time. What if the Nvidia doesn't really go anywhere and simply keeps oscillating in this narrow range for the next couple of days or even couple of weeks? So in that scenario, we won't be profiting much. Rather than that, the cost of trade will eat up the profit, and we will be ultimate losers. So it is not really easy for us to pinpoint the exact levels and the timing of the market, because the moves can happen anytime, and even there might be gap up or gap down openings, so we might lose out on the part where actual price moves happen. So in that context, we have to try to look at the key levels which will help us in determining the trend, as well as give us a safety net cushion, because any trading decision can go wrong, and even after having seen the fundamental growth driver, we do have to take into consideration the technicals while ensuring that our risk reward ratio remains favorable. We shouldn't be losing too much in case of we getting the trade wrong. And for that, I'm looking at this current chart information, and I feel that as long as the Nvidia keeps up this momentum, and we have it with this formation of high rise and higher lows, we can be hopeful of the continuation of the rally. But as we have the price which is almost 15% up from this safety level, we will indeed need to be caution. And maybe if for next couple of days we see it consolidating and not dropping much below these immediate low of around 440, even in that scenario, we would be in a position to give it a try, buy it around 430, 440, while keeping the stop loss little below these trial swing lows. So that is a possibility, but we do need to give it more time to play it out, play the price momentum, and depending, we also need to look at its daily time frame charting formation. It's taking some time. The path of least resistance for the NVIDIA is higher unless it breaks the channel formation, the upward channel formation. So till that happens, all we can do is try to pinpoint the points to buy. We can adopt buy on dip strategy and try to buy it at appropriate levels. To that effect, we have to watch out its immediate price formation, the recent swing lows and swing highs, and that can be our guiding factor. we consider the hourly charting formation, the daily charting formation still to load, it is taking some time. Now I'm at hourly chart again. So here if we look at the chart for major part of this year, pardon me, you would have noticed that from the start of the year where it was trading close to 140, it has rallied substantially non-stop sometimes, and in all these upward move, the formation of recent swing highs and swing low has been key, because if we buy close to the recent swing high, the chance that it will break below the prior swing low is always there, but even if that happens, we won't be losing too much money. So for us, it provides a decent risk reward ratio, and that is the reason why I prefer to look at the formation of recent swing highs and swing lows, and using the good enough risk reward ratio, we can then decide whether to go for the trade or to simply sit on the sidelines. Here in the month of May, we had this big move, big jump from 300 to 390, almost 400, and from there on the picture has changed, but it spent a lot many days simply consolidating sideways, not going anywhere. So even if you had taken a long trade, and if it hadn't moved much for say 2 weeks, at the given time, you would have got frustrated and thought that your trading decision was wrong. So we have to keep all these factors in mind, that even after everything is in our favor, the fundamentals, the technical, the stock still may not move and remain in a narrow range, and that kind of possibility has also to be considered when making the trading decision. So that is the reason why I feel that notwithstanding the positive news flow, the positive fundamentals, the positive technicals, we have to trade cautiously at the current juncture, allow it some more time to consolidate. Even though in the today's trading session it is up by around 3 percentage point, the time to buy is not in today's session. That's my feeling, and for better risk reward ratio, we need to give it more time and allow it to consolidate, and then I think we will be in a position to profit with good risk reward ratio with the least amount of risk which we can tolerate. So that's all from my side for today's session of the top volume stock analysis, where we considered these buzzing stock of the Nvidia. So if you have any suggestion for these session, do write to me in the feedback. If you feel that any stock which is happening, which is seeing a lot of action, and if you want the commentary on that particular stock, you can write to me in the feedback, and I will try to include it in the upcoming sessions. So do write to me. I would like to hear from you. I will be back tomorrow with a new stock, new hot and happening stock, and we will see various ways to profit from these increased interest on the part of the market participants. So do come back. See you next time around. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.